Thursday at noon Eastern is the start time for Sweet Saudi Money 6. Enough of this. Crown Jewel live from Riyadh. Their first trip back to Saudi Arabia since Super Showdown in February of last year. That was the night that Goldberg killed The Fiend. A very sour memory. One that I would like to forget. Maybe they can wipe the slate clean and start over with this show, because this on paper is the strongest lineup for any of the Saudi shows that they have done so far. This is because this is their only pay-per-view this month. You know, usually the Saudi Arabia shows are tacked on, they're an extra show, but this is the show. This is the only big show they have scheduled all month, and so they have loaded it up with a very pay-per-view worthy card by WWE standards here. We have Finn Balor against either Jinder Mahal or Xavier Woods in the finals of the King of the Ring. I am predicting a Balor-Mahal final, with Balor winning the crown. King of the Ring has traditionally been a heel gimmick. In fact, the last time a babyface won King of the Ring was 20 years ago. 20 years ago this year when Edge did it in 2001. So even though there's two babyfaces and one heel left in this thing, the odds seem to be against a Balor win, and even more against an Xavier Woods win. But I'm picking Balor to take the crown. I'll buck the odds, and I'll go with Finn Balor. Zelina Vega will meet either Doudrop or Shayna Baszler in the finals of the Queen's Crown. If this is not setting up for a Shayna Baszler win, then I'm not even sure what we're doing here. I say Baszler or bust. But, there's a big but here. After they got her involved in the angle with Sonya and Naomi on SmackDown, my fear is that Naomi is going to show up on Raw tomorrow night, and in retaliation for what happened to her on Friday, she is going to cost Shayna Baszler her match against Doudrop. So that is something to watch for. Even though I'm pulling for a Shayna Baszler win, we may be getting Doudrop and Zelina Vega in the finals of this tournament. Mansoor against Mustafa Ali. They did the breakup angle on TV Monday night with Ali going heel. Mansoor was not going to be the bad guy in Riyadh, nor is he going to lose this match. This was all done simply to give him someone to beat. Ali drew the short straw, as he has been doing for over a year now, so he's going to be looking up at the lights on Thursday. On a positive note, these two are really good, and I think the match also should be really good. Randy Orton and Matt Riddle defend their Raw Tag Team titles against AJ Styles and Omos. Orton and Riddle retain, that's my prediction. Omos is far from ready to venture out on his own as a single star, but AJ Styles just feels wasted at this point in this role. I can understand them wanting him to kind of guide Omos, and I can't think of a better person on this roster for him to watch and learn from than AJ Styles, but it's been so long now with this, and they had their run as tag team champions. It's over. I don't know why this is continuing outside of the fact that they just don't have any other teams. But in the meantime, it just feels like Styles, you know, he's a big star on that roster, and at a time when they really need big stars to step up in the singles division, AJ is being wasted. You know, for a company that needs stars, they have one right under their nose. So I'd like to see him back in the singles ranks and not winning the tag team titles again. And then we have Goldberg against Bobby Lashley in a no-holds-barred match. They reunited the Hurt Business so that Goldberg can mow through them like he did on TV a few weeks ago. And I think he probably will do it again here. It is no disqualification. So Shelton Benjamin and Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander could get involved. It is no DQ. But the key here is that the WWE title is not on the line, because Lashley is no longer the WWE champion. And that's great news. It's not great news that Lashley isn't the champion anymore. It's great news that Goldberg will be kept away from the WWE title, as he should. And without the title on the line, that clears the way for a Goldberg win. Now, I still resent what they did with him on the last Saudi show. I cannot excuse that. There is no excuse for the booking on that show. I know they wanted spear against spear at WrestleMania last year, Goldberg against Roman Reigns. They killed The Fiend for no reason. The entire purpose of them putting Goldberg over the Fiend was to transition the championship from Goldberg to Roman Reigns and to get the big marquee match between Goldberg and Reigns. Who's got the bigger spear? Which just sound all kinds of, that sounds so wrong. But that's the match they wanted to do, and they never even got to do it. They never even got to do it. What they did in Saudi Arabia was some of the worst booking in this company in the last 20 years. But Goldberg's son was attacked by Bobby Lashley. And Goldberg has literally threatened in the build-up to this match, he has literally threatened to murder Bobby Lashley. The babyface is going into this match avenging his son. Goldberg is not going to Saudi Arabia to lose this match. He is going to beat Bobby Lashley. I don't like it, but at least there's no title involved. I only hope that nobody gets hurt. Goldberg has yet to have anything resembling a good match on any of these Saudi shows. There's a first time for everything. I think we'll see Sunberg get involved with father and son celebrating at the end of this. Becky Lynch, Sasha Banks, and Bianca Belair. Triple threat match for the SmackDown Women's Championship. Big time Bex, as she is calling herself. She starts on Raw next week after the roster changes take effect, as does Bianca. Sasha is staying on SmackDown. Sasha pinned Becky on Friday night in a non-title match. So I don't see her winning the title, even though she is the only one staying on SmackDown. It would kind of make sense for her to walk away with the championship. I don't see that happening. Bianca, I would say Bianca has a chance, but a very slim one. Because I think the match they want to do at Survivor Series is Charlotte against Becky Lynch. That, plus they've already announced that Bianca is wrestling Charlotte on TV tomorrow night. Why give that away if you're going to turn around and give it to us again at Survivor Series? So this should be a Becky Lynch win, likely getting her win back over Sasha Banks to retain the title, which spares Bianca from taking the losing fall. I expect an excellent match from these three. Curious what they're going to be wearing, given where they are performing. Edge against Seth Rollins inside Hell in a Cell. We got a great, intense go-home promo from Edge on Friday night. He's always very good at that sort of thing. Rollins, not so much. I cannot stand him on the microphone with this new gimmick. I just can't. But in the ring, the man can go. Their first two matches were excellent. They're one win apiece at this point. Hell in a Cell is the perfect stipulation to blow off this feud, which I think was put together with the idea that in the end, Seth Rollins comes out on top. And if I'm right, then Seth Rollins is going to win this match. I think Edge puts up a brave fight, but Seth gets the victory and a chance to erase the horrible memory of his last Hell in a Cell match, one of the worst matches in the history of this company. With maybe one of the best. He might be able to replace the memory of one of the worst with one of the best. I think these two have it in them to try. Maybe it won't be the best, maybe it won't be the best. But this should be very good. Big E defends the WWE Championship against Drew McIntyre, who is bound for the blue brand, so McIntyre has no chance of walking out with the title, which takes all the drama out of the finish. It's a big name for Big E to beat, I guess, on his way out. Nothing more, nothing less. Big E retains. And Roman Reigns defends the Universal Championship against Brock Lesnar. The last time these two clashed in Saudi Arabia was also for the Universal title at the very first Saudi Arabia show, the Greatest Royal Rumble, 3 years ago. And the winner of the Greatest Royal Rumble that year is no longer employed by this company. This time, the roles are reversed, with Roman as the heel, with Paul Heyman as his manager, and Brock Lesnar as the babyface. This is the first of what is likely going to end up being multiple matches between these two men. Lesnar is said to be disappearing again after this, possibly until the Royal Rumble. This does not feel like the right time for Roman to be losing the title anyway. He's going to retain here. The only question is how. He may not win this match. He could retain the title, but lose the match. So does he pin Brock Lesnar? I wouldn't have him pin Brock Lesnar. Not if you're going to bring this back again in the future. So we either end up with a no contest or a cheap DQ off of interference from Paul Heyman and or the Usos. So Brock could win the match, but not the championship. I think that's the most likely outcome here. There is another possibility. I don't think it happens. I'm not really giving it a lot of thought as anything serious, but if they wanted to pull off a major swerve and get people talking coming out of the show, they could book a double turn with Heyman revealing that, in fact, he really has been with Lesnar this entire time. As skeptical as Roman and the Usos have been of Paul Heyman, and Heyman has been coming out on TV and giving these great performances, my tribal chief. I mean, this is Paul Heyman on TV every single week. The man is practically in tears every time he looks at Roman Reigns. Maybe we come to find out that it really was all just an act. And in fact, he has still been with Brock Lesnar this entire time. And in fact, he helped orchestrate Brock Lesnar's return to WWE. I don't like the idea because I don't think Roman should be a babyface right now, or that the bloodline should be going babyface. But it would be a great swerve. You know, if Heyman revealed himself to be with Brock and he helped Brock win back the title, and Roman flips to more of a tweener on the show as he fights his way back to a rematch with Brock at WrestleMania. I just don't see the timing on this being good. Yeah, they just moved Drew McIntyre over to SmackDown. Jeff Hardy, I think you can get at least one match out of that. You know, Hardy against Roman for the title. There's more matches for Roman between now and WrestleMania before I would even think about doing a turn. After the pay-per-view, the SmackDown crew flies to Wichita, Kansas for a live show on Friday night. That's at least a 15-hour flight, barring any delays or layovers. When the talent got stranded 2 years ago and they had to have that NXT invasion on SmackDown, it was one of the best shows of the year. But the NXT roster looks very different today than it did 2 years ago. So I'll be streaming live immediately after the pay-per-view ends. So if it's starting at noon, which I believe it is, I think it's noon Eastern. I don't know if it's noon Eastern for the pre-show or if there is no pre-show and the actual card starts at noon, but they're saying noon Eastern. So that would probably mean around 3 o'clock or so. It'll be over, maybe a little after. So figure I'll be live around that time. You'll get a rare Thursday afternoon Solomonster stream. And we'll talk about Crown Jewel.